the Union Cabinet will approve the budget as well. We'll get you the latest on that as well. For the moment, we have Sanjay Agarwal joining us, President PHDCCI. Very good morning to you, Sanjay. And it is all building up to that big moment when the budget is presented. And again, my first question to you is, which are the most critical portions that you will look at, in terms of what the industry in general is seeking from the government at this critical juncture?
In addition to social infrastructure, especially the health infrastructure, I think the major focus of this budget should be on the infrastructure spend on the national infrastructure pipeline projects that have been already identified. 111 lakh crores is the size of the plan. Unfortunately, nothing could be done last year because of the pandemic. What we are hoping for is a very strong and innovative solution to this issue of financing and encouraging the investment into infrastructure. What PhD Chamber has strongly recommended to the government is to set up, or rather alter even existing development financial institutions into mega DFIs, where money could be raised by a combination of equity coming in as FDI, with the government retaining a golden share to have the control retained. Okay. At the same time, there could be bonds with sovereign guarantee both in US dollars and in rupee or masala bonds as they are called, to offer the worldwide investors multiple choices as per their appetite. All this money that is lapping around in the international money markets because of the loose financial policies being followed by most of the central reserve banks across the world. Potentially, it's not going to be difficult to raise 25-30 lakh crore of rupees every year for the infrastructure bonds and the infrastructure investment into the country, provided we make sure that all the wrinkles are smoothened out. And the main investment right now that we expect into the infra should be coming from the government, central government. Once there is a sufficient investment happening into the economy by the central government, there'll automatically be a surge in the demand for the private industry also, which will then increase the capacities, and the states would also invest into the infra because of their better GST collection. So this is one big ticket item that we are definitely hoping for, a mega DFI to attract mega funds. This is the only way that we can come out of this conundrum. The multiplier effect of investment into infra, even in the economic survey, has been estimated at 2.5 in times like these, which are very recessionary times.
Yes, certainly. And what about private investment? Because that is something that has been an area of concern, and there's been this over-reliance at government spending to prop up the economy, not just in infrastructure but other spheres as well. So you feel that some steps might be taken to ensure that private money, there's been steps taken on FDI, but that too is being said that it is leading to more secondary investments and not primary greenfield investments. Now, do you think that there will be more thrust there as well, more private money of our own indigenous industry, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and of course FDI as well?
I think the private investment will always be a function of the demand, and the demand side has to be addressed first. And to address the demand side issues, what is required initially is for the government to invest into the infrastructure on a very strong basis. Once that happens, as I said, there'll automatically be a much larger demand of goods for the private investment, and those private industries which are currently having excess capacities would be finding themselves short of capacity, and that is when they will invest. No private business is going to invest on a slogan. They are going to invest on the economic reality. Okay. So what we need is a heavy dose of investment into the infrastructure.
Okay. Just stay with me, Sanjay, because there were several mini budgets as well, as the Prime Minister mentioned, that were rolled out through the course of the current fiscal, and they were presented in the form of COVID-related stimulus. They helped India ramp up healthcare infrastructure. This sector could see renewed focus and opportunities based on this infrastructure.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had allocated Rs 69,000 crore to the health sector while presenting the budget for the year 2020-21. It also included 6,400 crore rupees of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. About 11 crore families of the country get health insurance of Rs 5 lakh every year under this scheme. Around 25,000 hospitals in the country have joined Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana so far. The health sector has always been a matter of priority for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Special care was taken in the budget to provide the benefit of the health facility to poor people at their homes. The opening of Jan Aushadhi centers in all the districts by 2024 and provision of 2,000 medicines and 300 surgical items in those centers were mentioned in the last year's budget. 7,000 Jan Aushadhi centers have been opened in the country so far. The government has also targeted to eliminate tuberculosis by 2025. Setting up of hospitals in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities to be made under the PPP model, and it was to be started in 112 districts in the first phase. The year 2020 came to be known as COVID era. The handling of COVID cases by central government is being appreciated worldwide. 15,000 crore rupees were given by the centre to the states to deal with COVID and to increase health facilities. Not only increased human resources, but also dedicated COVID hospitals, PPE kits and N95 masks were provided to the hospitals during this period. Labs were extended for corona testing in the country. There are about 2,300 labs in the country for corona testing so far. The central government has allocated Rs 900 crore for the research and development of vaccine under Mission COVID Suraksha. There is a lot of hope among the people from the upcoming budget. The health sector spends around 1% of GDP, and the government continuously says that it will be increased to 2.5%. With Bureau Inputs, Nitendra Singh's report, DD India.
It's always being said that the health sector is somewhere where a lot of trust will be paid. But Sanjay, if I could come to you, a lot of opportunities also have come up in the last year in the health sector itself because of the pandemic, and that is something that perhaps the government could also look at when it is looking at expanding vaccination. The big question also has been so far the vaccination that has been carried out is free for those who are getting it, but for the general population, again, the budget will answer the question as to what sort of expense will they have to incur to get themselves vaccinated and when that will actually happen.
The vulnerable parts of the society, the lower income groups and so on, they should still, in our opinion, be getting free vaccination. Of course, those who can afford it should be paying for it. It should not be much of an issue. But then, at the same time, we must keep in mind that the sort of lead, that moral lead that India has taken in the whole world, by actually accepting the requests of 24 countries already, and there are 36 more countries in the line to whom also India is planning to supply the vaccine. We have already supplied free vaccines, I think nearly 6 crore vaccines to our neighbors. 55 lakh vaccines to our neighbors. And we plan to supply vaccines in crores free of cost as our support in this difficult time. So I think we could do that for the country also. Of course, there is no need to subsidize those who can afford it. But having said that, I think this pandemic has made us realize how critical is the health infrastructure of the country, and how investment into the health infrastructure is the biggest multiplier in terms of human wellness, human development index, as also in terms of the economic results of the healthy population. The economic survey is in absolute agreement with our chamber's suggestion, which we have been giving very strongly for the past 1 year, that the health infrastructure, health budget should be doubled from 1.5% of GDP to at least 3% of the GDP, and that is what we are expecting in this budget. In addition, we need to take very positive, strong steps to ensure that the delivery of both CAPEX and OPEX funds for the lowest level, from primary healthcare centers to block level to district level and to the national institutes, health institutes, is seamless.
Sanjay, I'm sorry to interrupt, we're completely out of time as far as this segment is concerned. So thank you so much for joining us to talk about the budget at this juncture. Thank you to you too, Deepshika and Narendra Wadhwa, for joining us for the moment. But our coverage will continue related to Union Budget 20 FY22, if we can call it in short, and do stay with us. Thank you.